Hi, this is Matt with State of Flux with yet another Everyone's a Film Critic 52-week movie challenge. We are on week 11, and the challenge this time around is a film that has won Best Original Screenplay. The film I chose is Her. Year release 2013, aspect ratio 1851, runtime 2 hours and 6 minutes, genre romance, rated R, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, Amy Adams, Rooney Mara, and Olivia Wilde, directed by Spike Jonze, produced by Warner Brothers, written by Spike Jonze, music by Arcade Fire. Awards received. The only Oscar it took home was Best Original Screenplay, but it was also nominated for Best Picture, Best Original Score, Best Original Song, and Best Production Design. Why did I choose this film? I have been meaning to watch this movie for a long, long time. I had a friend actually who recommended it to me as his favorite film of 2013. I kept that on the back burner for a while. It was at the dollar store about 6 years ago, and I found it in the dollar bin for just $1 on Blu-ray. So I picked it up, and it remained shrink-wrapped until this very day. Thought this was an excellent opportunity to watch this movie, as it is the only film to win Best Original Screenplay that I had not watched for the entire past decade. So, crossed that one off my bucket list. Have I seen this movie before? I haven't. Would I recommend this film? Why or why not? Yeah, I liked it. It was very good. It's a nice sort of somber romance. It's not like a gung-ho, you're gonna experience love in all of its wildest forms kind of movie, but I think it does offer a romance that's very sincere, very real, but also very offbeat, and kind of weirdly, wickedly modern. I appreciated that. This movie says a lot about technology, the beauty of it, the interconnectivity of it, and the interpersonal relationship between you and, Siri or whatever. But this extends beyond that. The relationships you develop from across the Wi-Fi. Some of these people you may never ever meet in your entire life, yet you feel connected to them in a way that is every bit as potent and as real as a quote-unquote real relationship you have with people in your everyday life. I like what that says, and I also like where the movie ultimately lands on the idea of technology and relationships and stuff like that. I would mainly recommend this for 3 reasons. I did really appreciate the score. Cinematography is stunning. The fact that this was not nominated for cinematography kind of weirded me out. I thought the cinematography was absolutely stunning. Production design is great, but Scarlett Johansson, more than anybody else in this film, sells the hell out of it as a completely disembodied voice. And she is stunningly perfect. This is one of the strongest performances I think she's ever given. And that's high praise. She's one of my favorite actors. I think she's one of the best actresses we have around. Take her performance from Jojo Rabbit or Marriage Story, both of which gained Oscar attention, or long ago with Lost in Translation, or hell, even the stuff she did with Black Widow. I sincerely think that her work in the first, second, and fourth Avengers films is really a highlight. She is spectacular in those movies, really elevates those movies, as she's like the emotional focal point of those 3 films in a very striking way. And the performance that she gives in them and the life she infuses into those films is really quite strong for a rather muted character. As well as any number of other things. I think she was also great in Don John, which I believe was the same year as this. She's a very underrated talent, but I think this is one of her strongest performances, and the fact that we never even see her, it's all just through voice work, is kind of inspiring. It's a shame that went unrecognized by the Academy. But yes, I liked it. ScarJo for the win. I thought Joaquin did a good job, as he usually does. He's given better performances. He would win an Oscar for one of those. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with, and in what way? Well, there's no real character, I guess, I identified with or connected with. There were aspects that I connected with. I dabble in writing myself, and there's a line in the movie where Samantha, which is Scarlett Johansson's character, is talking to the Joaquin Phoenix character, who is a writer. And he confesses to her that there are nights where he's particularly proud of something he's written, and he feels like he's the best writer. He's his own favorite writer, and I've had that exact moment as well. If I'm particularly proud of something that I've written in the fictional world and stuff like that, you have this like energy about you where you're like, I think this is really good. This isn't only publishable. This is something that I think could engage others, and you get this like wicked sensation. And I hope to get something published on a mass scale someday. I've had some like pieces published through newspapers or magazines and stuff, but I would ideally get a novel published out there someday, even if it's self-published. But anyway, so I guess he would be the character I would relate to, but I don't have the same issues or experiences that he went through in this. So I guess very, very loosely him. Best line or memorable quote, glad that came up, I wrote it down. The Amy Adams character says this one. Joaquin Phoenix's character confesses that he is in love with an AI, an OS system as they keep calling it in the film. Operation system, I guess. And he confesses to her that he's in love with his OS, and she unflinchingly just accepts that, and he's like, you think I'm crazy? And she says, I think anybody who falls in love is a freak. It's a crazy thing to do. It's kind of like a form of socially acceptable insanity. I love that. Excellently performed by Amy Adams. Everything she says on film is always like a home run. Printing money, as they say. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? I kind of was. I mean, I didn't assume that their relationship would last, but I didn't think that the relationship would deteriorate for the reason it does in the film. And if you haven't seen it, I'll let you experience that for yourself. Because there's quite an emotional heft to it and a weight. I don't know that I would do anything differently. I think the film ultimately wants you to land that while technology can be this great thing and a tool for you to disengage from your everyday life, where the characters kind of end in this film leads two physical people to be together, not necessarily romantically. It's not any link like that, but maybe the relationships you have with the physical people around you are just a touch more important. You need each other to rely on each other in ways that disembodied voice or a person on the other end of the phone can't really do for you. And I like that, and the film sells that idea enough, but I don't think it like landed as well as Spike Jonze probably wanted you to walk away with. But as it stands, the climax is pretty strong. Unless you read the script, you can unless you read the script, you can only judge a screenplay by the movie. Based on the movie, do you feel the script deserved the award for the best screenplay? I don't know what it was up against. I guess I could find out what it was up against. What was this film up against? This is just going to be dead air for a few seconds. Original screenplay 2014 Oscars nominees and winner. Okay, so the films that were nominated that year were Her, American Hustle. I was not in love with that film. Blue Jasmine. uh, I didn't see Blue Jasmine. That's a Woody Allen picture. Dallas Buyers Club, which I was not a fan of, and Nebraska. Of these movies, I liked Nebraska the best. But based on screenplay alone, of the nominees, yeah, I would say I would have probably, even though I liked Nebraska more as an overall experience, I would say that I liked her core concept and screenplay better. It's more inventive. It's more certainly original, and I think there's a lot of work that is put into the relationship of the OS system, the OS and this Samantha, in making her a character that you would fall in love with or accept him falling in love with. And the fact that you buy it unflinchingly, without like hesitation, really early on in the film, even like after the first or second encounter between the two, is everything to do with the screenplay. Yes, the actors sell it. He sells it. She sure as shit sells it. But it all starts with the screenplay. And if you don't make those words work and feel natural coming out of those performers' mouths, then it's all for naught. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think this deserved its best screenplay win. Anything else I would like to add? I'm a big fan of Spike Jonze. If you haven't seen Spike Jonze films, I highly recommend them. He made two of my favorite films, two of my top 5 movies the year of release. That would be in 1999. He made Being John Malkovich, which is an astonishingly great movie. I think it's part of the Criterion Collection. He followed that up, I think, in 2003, I want to say. It might have been 2002. Would have been 2002, with Adaptation. And Adaptation was in my top 5 the year that came out. That one is also strikingly inventive. He's always, so what I'm getting to is Spike Jonze is awesome. He always has had very good visual language to his films, but I think this one had a beauty to it that those films entirely lacked. Now, I don't know if that's a budget thing or like a willful thing. Like, those movies probably wouldn't have worked particularly well if they were shot quote-unquote beautifully, but this movie just really stepped up his game. However, I do think of those movies, this is easily the worst. This is probably the worst movie I've seen him direct. I've seen a handful of others. I don't know that I would have nominated this for Best Picture of 2013. However, 2013 didn't have a ton of movies I really particularly liked, so maybe it would have eked on by. But certainly, like, this got a nomination over like Fruitvale Station. I don't know, man. Like, Fruitvale Station was my favorite movie the year that came out. Hell, like About Time came out that year, and I like that movie better than this one. That said, Her is a very good movie. Check it out. I appreciated it, and I hope you do too. Next week's challenge is a controversial movie. Without question. The teaser right now. This isn't going to be a teaser. I'm just going to flat out tell you what I'm going to watch. Let's ride this Joaquin Phoenix wave. Let's go Joker, fellas. Next week, you'll get my review of controversial film Joker.